in Marilyn Monroe's posthumous autobiography called My Story, she says this. One day, a grand piano arrived at my home. It was out of condition. My mother had bought it secondhand. It was for me. I was going to be given piano lessons on it. It was a very important piano, despite being a little banged up. It had belonged to the movie star Frederic March. March, you'll play the piano over here by the windows, my mother said, and here on each side of the fireplace there will be a love seat, and we can sit listening to you. As soon as I pay off a few other things, I'll get the love seats, and we'll all sit in them at night and listen to you play the piano. I never forgot the white painted house and its furniture. Years later, when I was beginning to earn some money from modeling, I started looking for the Frederick March piano. After about a year, I found it at an old auction room and bought it. Um, because when her mom was taken to the Norwalk mental hospital, Marilyn sent to an orphanage, so all their belongings are taken, including the piano. So
Yep.
Marilyn then buys the piano back from an auction, and then guess what? In 1999, Mariah Carey purchases the piano from an auction.
Hi, welcome to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. This is Dr. Andrew Rimby. I just wanted to let you all know before you listen to today's episode that there are sponsor ads in this episode. Shout out to the sponsors of the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. They include the Gay and Lesbian Review magazine, Broadview Press, and That Old Gay Classic Cinema podcast. But if you don't want to hear ads in the episode, you know where to go. Our Patreon, patreon.com/Ivory Tower Boiler Room. You can listen to all episodes ad-free, and you can watch the video version of the episode, which, it's always exciting to see what it's like when I'm posing a question and the guest is giving a really riveting response and seeing their facial expressions. And mine too, where I probably have my hand on my chin and I'm just looking at all at their body language when they're delivering such exciting information. Okay, so remember, please follow us on YouTube. Make sure if you're listening on Spotify or Apple that you not only follow us, but please rate and review. It really, really means a lot. Again, I'm going to plug the YouTube because I'm trying to grow our YouTube presence. Please subscribe to YouTube. Please like our videos. Again, this means the world. Follow us on Instagram at Ivory Tower Boiler Room. Same on TikTok. You're going to see a lot of fun clips on TikTok. I also feature lessons that I'm teaching my students, which usually involves the subjects that you can find here on the podcast. And we have our virtual book club. It's free. It's on Zoom, so it's really easy to join. It's happening on April 27th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are discussing The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Yes, Mel Robbins, the empowerment self-help guru who you probably have seen on TikTok or Instagram if you scroll all the time. So I hope you join us. If you want to join the book club, just email me at ivorytowerboilerroom@gmail.com, subject heading book club, and I will get you the Zoom link. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's episode.
And hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ivy Tower Boiler Room Rewatches Smash. We're on episode 2, and we have Dr. Andrew Rimby here with us to be speaking about episode 2 of Smash. Andrew, what did you think about today's episode?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's called The Callback, and
Oh, yes.
I thought I was auditioning for this musical with how immersive everyone is in this episode. I'm like, am I on stage? Am I caught with my pants down? Because that's how I felt with all these characters. It's like is um everyone is basically putting themselves out there, but also stepping in the muck, like the mucky mess of the Broadway industry. Or maybe almost everyone. I don't know. I guess we'll have to go through it. But I definitely um felt exposed. I felt like I wasn't the emperor with no clothes. I was literally everyone calling me out and having my pants down around my ankles. So if that's a
Oh,
nice visual for
oh.
everyone out there, I don't know why my metaphor went there, but that's where my head is today.
My goodness, yes, this episode was a lot. It had to do with a lot of it's a lot of musical numbers, which I'm happy about. And it deals with a lot of disappointments in this episode as well.
Yeah,
And I never noticed. Yep.
and what you'll do to get to the top, I feel, is a big theme
Yes.
in this episode.
Yes.
Yeah,
A lot
yeah.
of these characters go through a lot of those. Well, one character in particular goes through that little moment, but we'll talk about her later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so you were saying.
Yes, and while I was rewatching it, we still what I didn't realize is that we have a cold open of Catherine McPhee's Karen singing at a bar at this sort of jazz bar thing, and I never realized how the beginning and the end are the same, except it's two different characters singing two different songs, and it's
Mhm.
one character feeling as if they need to be recognized, and another character being recognized for a
Mm.
part that she got. With
That's
Karen, it's the
an
part that she wants,
Yeah.
and then with Ivy, it's the part that she gets. So it's,
Yeah, and one is a fantasy with Karen, and one is actual
exactly.
reality. Like, because
Mm-hmm.
Karen is actually singing in the cafe that she works at, and then
Yep.
almost a la Waitress the musical is brought back to reality with that opening up in Waitress, like where there's all like the customers. That's the um after the prologue in Waitress, but it kind of
Was
reminded
Waitress
me.
on at
Yeah.
this time? No, it
Mm-mm.
wasn't. Was it even conceived back then?
I
No,
don't
it
think
was
so.
on. Okay.
Yeah, but
That's something to
maybe
think about.
someone from their creative team saw Karen in the
Maybe.
cafe, and they're like, "Oh, we should do
Everyone was
something
like,
about
huh, I
waitresses."
could make that into a musical. That looks interesting.
Karen, but right, Karen is really that stereotype of she's an actress who's at a like works as a waitress. And again, I don't even know, does Ivy work outside of no, she's working as a ensemble member for
Yep.
that
Mhm.
show where she is always in a glittery headdress, or I don't know, she makes a lot of
Yes.
she mocks the musical in this episode.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, so I loved the Daydream. I do think though, I find it interesting the song choices that they do
Oh,
for
yes.
covers because I don't
Yep.
always I feel like it's a that to me is the product of the 20 like 2011 and 12s. It's the songs they cover because they're so at odds with the new Marilyn Monroe songs.
Yep.
Right? Because what was Karen singing?
Oh my God. It
I'm trying to
was,
remember.
I need to.
I know we can look it up, but it was
It
um
was something like very like, was it country? It felt very like twangy-ish. I can't remember what the
I don't
song
think
was.
it was country. I think it was more like a pop rock, something from like a current hit. Which is why maybe it feels stuck in the like 2011s because it's not a hit that
Oh.
we still remember. But okay, so go ahead, Christian. I'll figure out the song she sings.
You go right ahead and you figure that out. But I wanted to ask if you remember seeing that many billboards for Phantom on a block. When after that whole show montage moment, we get Karen and we get Ivy and her friends walking down the street in New York City, and I said to myself, I've never noticed that many billboards for Phantom when Phantom was running, and that was at the Majestic Theater. I said, whoa. I didn't notice that they had that many ad placements back then. I guess it takes one to know one because it's like, wow, we take a lot of things for granted on Broadway.
No, you're right. There was um what I like is they really show off Times Square and all the
They do.
Broadway marquees. Like
Hmm.
because of the premise of putting on a Broadway musical, that they're really honing in on that aspect of Times Square, right? Because there's also so many advertisers. Like Broadway, I would say probably is 5% of the ads, if that.
Yep.
Like you get all the watches and the hotels and coffee, right? Like everything um is so immersive. But like to
Yeah.
actually see the marquees displayed like that, that's what I love about the show, is it really is the Broadway Broadway's biggest promoter is Smash.
It is. And that's what I love about it because I think it was either in this or the first episode where we also see the billboard of Wicked as well, which coincidentally celebrating its 20th anniversary by the time this episode comes out. So
Yeah, and I can plug too that I'm organizing group tickets, more information to come
yes.
for St. Patrick's, all things March.
So
So to give
excited
me
for
enough
that.
time too, but I will let everyone know how they can become part of the Ivory Tower Boiler Room Wicked excursion in March. And I'm even trying for an Emerald City VIP experience. So more
Oh,
on that to
yes.
come.
Sign me up for that,
Yeah, so
please.
start getting your hands on Gregory Maguire's books, because that will be the book club choice. But okay, I know, but to think that Wicked is in its 20th anniversary, I saw it.
Can you believe?
Yeah, I saw it in 2004. No, or three. No, 2004, definitely. Because Kristen Chenoweth had left, but Adina Menzel was still in it. Um, so I still remember that. I think it was Jennifer Laura Thompson. She was Glinda. Um,
I thought with Kristen and Adina. There's a
oh,
story
that's
behind
so
it, which I'll tell you in
exciting.
person
Okay.
because
Yeah, we'll have to have like a Wicked. We'll definitely do a special Wicked episode to prepare for the um excursion to Broadway.
oh
Okay.
yes.
But oh, I did find the song that sung is
What song is it?
it is no, this isn't right. Is it Calm? No. There is
Call
Call
Me
Me. It is Call Me, right?
by
Yes. By Blondie.
Blondie.
Okay, so it's
Okay,
not
so it
something
was
from
a
the
pop. See,
2000s.
but I don't know why, but it's so. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it wasn't the sped up like 80s version. It was very mellow.
Oh,
You're right. Almost like
well,
folksy. Um,
see, that's what.
okay, so not a current hit, but they did a rendition of it. Oh, and then um Ivy sings Crazy Dreams by Carrie Underwood. Okay, that's a product of the
Oh
2011.
boy.
Um, so okay. Um,
He sings in a very Broadway-esque type of way.
yeah,
Ivy
yeah,
does at the end of the show.
she does. Okay, so bring us to, what's next on your roster, Christian.
Well, well, after that, I believe we get all these callbacks where we're back in the callback section. We get some more time with Karen and her wanting to be, I guess, perfect in a way, but she also doesn't want to be felt like the odd girl out when these callbacks auditions are happening. And on top of that, she's also dealing with her boyfriend who
Mhm.
needs her at a specific time and she wasn't able to get there because, as we all know, whenever you're doing a Broadway production, things don't go as planned. They always either you end up leaving later than planned. And sometimes some people get a little frustrated. But it's weird because at the end of that, it's like they just kiss and make up. I'm like, okay, so this is a show where that happens. So
Well, and I also love how Marilyn's biography continues. Like we saw that building in the
I
first
wonder which one
episode.
Ivy was reading because I'm like, oh, I don't know which one that was because I
Yeah,
have
I'll have to ask
two.
Elizabeth Winder because it was Ivy's reading a Marilyn Monroe biography that focuses on
Mhm.
Arthur Miller and
Yes,
Kazan, which I think Kazan was a
Elia Kazan.
Elia Kazan was a in the Hollywood industry. I knew that,
Yep,
but was a
yep. He
director?
directed. Yep, he directed a Rebel Without a Cause.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's a later biography because
Yes.
Arthur Miller is her last husband who then
Yep.
she divorces. But
Mhm.
yeah, Rebel Without a Cause is like her claim to fame. Like everyone says you need to see that movie for she uses the actor's method in Rebel Without a Cause because it's after
Yes.
her time, Marilyn's time in Manhattan, which is Elizabeth Winder's book, Marilyn in
Yes.
Manhattan, is all about the actor studio and the whole psychological method of actor's method and using types of Freudian psychoanalysis to get to that characterization. So they say that Marilyn really um, feels her way through Rebel Without a Cause from the actor's method. Okay, so uh,
But
yeah, I
we're
found
also
yeah,
plumped into a meeting with all the producers and the director and Angelica Houston, of course. And
yeah.
then we um we see little sneaky what was his name again?
Oh, Ellis,
Ellis, yep.
Ellis,
And
the
even Angelica
assistant.
Houston's assistant, he's like, "What are you doing?" Like you're
Yeah,
getting called
yeah.
out. That's what you're
Well, and I
doing.
think even before that, I liked this moment where Tom and Julia talk about the structure of the musical because I thought it
Oh
was a
my
really
God.
meta moment, and I like highlighted structure of the musical. Oh, that's what I was gonna say is I love how Marilyn's life is matching what Karen and Ivy are going through because
Yep.
like if you notice this creative team and screenwriting team was so careful to make sure that whatever Karen and Ivy are facing has some kind of basis in Marilyn's own dilemmas. So, like
Yes.
Karen needing to put herself front and center for this callback, then disappoints her boyfriend
Yep.
who should be cheering her on, but he wants her to be there. So she kind of has to play this domestic role, like which Marilyn had to
Uh-huh.
continue to try to please the men around her.
Yeah.
Um, and then we'll get to Ivy and the casting couch, which is another
Ah,
unfortunate aspect that
or
Marilyn
is
had
it
to
the
deal with.
casting bed?
Yeah, well, the casting couch is the bed, I think. It's a symbol for us, Christian, of the
Yes.
wolves of Hollywood.
Yes.
These are the wolves. Okay. So but I like how they like play around with where Let Me Be Your Star will be, because that is such a real process in the musical
Yep.
industry of where does the music fit? And then I like Julia's rationale for, well, Let Me Be Your Star. We don't have to go through chronology. Like it was kind of what we said in the pilot.
Mhm.
It's in media race. It's in the middle of things. It's um, her reflecting on what's going to happen in her life. So I like that whole behind the scenes
And I
thinking that
loved the
happens.
staging of that in their mind, like what they were thinking of. It kind of
Mm.
reminded me the way that they're all the other, I guess, I guess you would say like other women, or would you say like other aspects of Marilyn are in like tiny little boxes. And it kind of
Mhm.
reminded me of Barbie in a way.
When I think about this sponsor for the podcast, I always just think of coziness. There is such a cozy aesthetic with Broadview Press. If you've never heard of Broadview Press, they are an independent publisher. They publish books like the new edition of The Wizard of Oz, The Great Gatsby, Dracula, all of your classic literary canon. But they don't just publish classic books, they also publish anthologies. So I just had the pleasure of meeting the editors of the Vampire Literature Anthology. If you are a Gothic fan, if you love the history of vampires, Nosferatu, uh, you are going to love this anthology. You don't have to be a college instructor or even a college student to enjoy Broadview Press's books. For example, the vampire literature book has so many different literary examples of just where the vampire pops up in our zeitgeist of pop culture. Another book that I absolutely love is The Philosophy of Sports. I'm sure so many of you out there listening know someone who's obsessed with sports. Did you know that there's a whole investigative philosophy about why people are drawn to sporting culture, why there are die-hard fans? I'm looking at you, Philadelphia Eagles. I can say that because I'm from the Philly area originally. Anyone else not from the Philly area, we're going to give you a side eye. But Broadview Press just is so incredible with their books that they're always publishing. I love talking to Dylan, who works at Broadview Press, and Dylan always sends me copies of new books that have come out. So I know all about a new book called Everyday Ethics, which you definitely have to look into if you're interested in philosophy. But I also love that there's a collection of Victorian literature, American literature. If you have just been really interested in a genre, like you just love fairy tales, then you need to get their Folks and Fairy Tales anthology. So Broadview Press has been so kind to give a promotion code for all of you listening to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. Ready? Write it down, put it in your phone right now. It is ITBR20. So you get 20% off all of your Broadview Press books. Any book that you get is 20% off. Broadviewpress.com. Please let me know what you're getting from Broadview Press. I'd love to share it on our social media. And make sure you follow them on Instagram at Broadview Press. Enjoy your reading.
Yeah.
From
It
myself.
actually kind of looks like the Hairspray set. I don't know if you've ever seen
Oh.
Hairspray, but they like had all these boxes in uh what was that song? Without Love. Um which Mark Shaman, did the
Yes.
and Scott Whitman did the music and lyrics for. But also it kind of looks like the telephone hour from Bye Bye Birdie. But
Ooh.
so no, I think you're right. I think it's well, at first I think it's women's um frustration with Marilyn, like how she gets portrayed, um, like kind of anonymous women jeering Marilyn and like putting her
Mhm.
down for um her authentic self. But then I think you're right. It's almost as if every woman is a different critique within Marilyn's psyche. And I
Yep.
like how Ivy and Karen switch in that song, and that rendition of Let Me Be Your Star is a
Oh,
much more psychologically nuanced one than the one at the end of episode one.
yes. There's lots of
Yeah.
belts in this one.
Hmm.
Lots of belts. Yep, they're going
Yeah.
for it.
Let me see. Oh, yeah. And there's like the women say your mother left you. Like they start to put Marilyn down
Yep.
based on um how women have failed her in her life. Like it
Hmm.
wasn't really I don't remember anything about the men in her life. It was kind of how women have uh set her up, or like views she has about motherhood or womanhood, or and I thought that was an interesting angle because her mom, was in a mental institution, and there's like this whole history behind her mom throwing her off to neighbors and kind of being absent because of her mental health. Um so yeah, I think it's building us up for when Bernadette Peters comes to be her mom.
Oh boy. We're waiting for that. We're waiting for that.
I know. Okay, so yeah, I love that moment though. Oh, and Ellis, I know, is such a well, remember, this is what you warned us about, Christian. Ellis tries to claim that he um
And he says it again. He says
says,
it again. He
"Oh,
says
this I love seeing my idea put into motion." He says as he sees all
like,
the like
mm,
the outline of the music numbers.
yep. It's
It's
like,
like not
dude,
quite, but
not
Julia's ready.
really.
Like Julia's ready to um
To hammer him. And I love
put a
it.
legal have a legal team seek him out.
Uh-huh.
But she knows. Tom though is very I think he's not thinking with his mind. He's
No,
thinking with a male organ.
one specific male organ. But
Mm,
but if we could round back on Julia, she's also dealing with a lot this episode as well. Like she's having meetings with the adoption agency and with the um there's also a meeting that she wants to go to for adoptive parents that are in the process of adopting.
yeah, I mean,
And her
I did
husband doesn't
find
seem so keen on that aspect.
I did really like the kind of balancing the difficulties of adoption with the creative process. Like again, she's
Mhm.
trying to balance her relationship with her work life. Um and she's committed to this adoption process. Um and her husband kind of has to meet her halfway. And like literally, I like when he comes and joins her when she's reading the letter to her daughter in like or potential adopted daughter in China. I have to say the only thing I found odd about this storyline is that the son is very angry and it kind of came out of nowhere for me. I'm like, why is the
Oh,
son
I see.
so he's like, you told me I'd have a sibling. I'm like, what?
I mean, if you look at it from his perspective, and we're gonna go deep for a minute, but
Yeah.
if you've been a single kid your whole life and your parents want to have another child, it makes you feel as if you're expecting a Christmas present that's never coming, or
Yeah.
that's on it's or that it's on delay. And I think that's kind of what uh he was feeling at the time. And by the way, their patio looks gorgeous. I don't know who owns that patio, but it's like I don't know how rich they are, but it's like damn, they, they must be really rich if they can get that beautiful patio. It's like wow, I want that.
Gosh. No, no, you're right. But no, I can see that perspective. I mean, I'm an only child and I um have enjoyed being an only child. Um, but my parents have always like said it would be nice if I had siblings. Like, did I miss out on anything? And I'm like, no, like I loved my childhood and I don't know. For me, it's not about like I understand why he might be upset. I guess like I just don't we don't really know a lot about the son. So I thought like his um annoyance um came out of left field. Like because I didn't really
Yeah.
we don't know the backstory that much.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I didn't say I was going to agree with every storyline, Christian. Um, but
You don't
okay.
have to.
No, I know, I know. So, oh, what did you think of Karen's dance rehearsal?
Oh, that you noticed that? I noticed again that one of the dancers was looking at the choreographer's ass. I was like, damn, okay, they're really going for it. But that whole let's do it again, let's do it again, let's do it again. It just took me back to rehearsals. And actually, I wanted to ask you if you've had any callback stories,
Oh
if you
yeah.
want to share them, because I was thinking about it last night. I was like, damn, I've only had two callbacks in musical theater for myself.
Yeah,
What were
callbacks are
yours?
stressful.
Yeah, they were.
I well, the one that comes to my mind is where I was trying out for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory,
Oh
and
boy.
um, I got a callback,
Mhm.
but I do have to admit, it was at an age like I was in high school, so like I was kind of too old to be the children, and I was too young to be a parent. So I do the callback. They're like, "We like you. Like you. This is great." I think this was right after I had done with Renee Lisiaga. I had done Smokey Joe's Cafe. I think so, but so then I just started to do a lot of different auditions for regional theater.
Mhm.
And um, they're like, okay, we like you, but we're gonna create a part for you. And I'm like, oh, what's the part? And they were like, Veruca Salt's backup dancer. I'm sorry. No part is
No.
no part like no small part is too small. Like you will hear that all the time. Um, but that was not the right part for me. Um, so I had to like gracefully back out of it, but sometimes you have to listen and appreciate, but I always say you don't have to like always if it's not right for you, back out at the beginning and don't go through the whole rehearsal process. Like that's not ethical. Like if this doesn't speak to you, the director does not want you to go through with something that you're going to not be invested in. But okay. Well, and then I had like the a callback story where I this is when I went to do All Shook Up. But at this time, it was a general callback. So like you had to do a this is actually when Mary DePippi and I like reconnected again. This was
Oh
during high school.
wow.
Because she was doing a callback too. And like I was like, oh, Mary, like I remember like us during main stage, and like we went out for coffee during like we had a break during the callbacks. It was a long. I'll have to ask Mary, but I think it was like 5 hours. I don't know. It felt long. Um, because we
Fine.
ought to do like we had to do a general callback. So it was like their whole summer season. You could be picked for any musical. It was like High School Musical, All Shook Up. Maybe there was another one. You didn't know what parts you were auditioning for. That made me nervous. And then we all had to do the general dance call. So like everyone is, learning it at the same time. Then everyone goes into small groups and has to perform in front of the you know, uh, creative and yeah, creative team. I knew the piano player because it was my vocal coach. He actually was the one who told me about the callback. Um,
Oh,
so like the singing audition, I felt comfortable with. The dancing, I enjoy dancing, but like that always took me a little longer to learn the combination.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, so then I think what happened is we all like went on a break and then came back from the break and they said who made it to the next round. And then people like a la chorus line had to leave if they didn't make it to the next round. So then I
Oh,
made it, so I stayed. And then like there was another like 2 hours of callbacks. And then I
nice.
think finally I found out what show I was going to be on a week after they told me I'd be in All Shook Up and I was in the ensemble. And I was like, okay. And then they're like, and this is our first day of rehearsals. I'm like, okay. Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. But it felt very competitive. That's what I mean by nerve-wracking. Um,
Yep.
so like it was kind of like the Karen and Ivy situation where
Mhm.
like Ivy's sitting outside the rehearsal room and she like has her friend not spy, but her friend is like one of the ensemble dancers with Karen and Ivy's like, "Oh, how did she do?" And he's like, not good." Remember? It was
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I definitely feel like I'm supposed to not like Ivy in this episode.
Hmm. I mean, she does come off as those prima donna leading ladies that we all see in high school. And it's kind of like she gives off that kind of airy vibe about her in this episode where it's like, okay, I need to know everything you know about Karen Cartwright. What is it that you know about her so I can crush her? It's like it's that type of competitiveness that you were just talking about where Karen doesn't want any competitiveness where as Ivy she's just like I need to beat the competition. She doesn't want anyone for this role except herself.
Yeah, well, and I think when Derek, the director, keeps saying that Karen and everyone says she's so green, I think
Mm-hmm.
though that's what makes Derek really enjoy Karen's choices in the rehearsing for Marilyn or the
Mm-hmm.
callback is that her greenness is also her not being so competitive or egotistical.
Yep.
Um, like he says, Ivy's playing up this part, like is really almost too invested. And I agree. I think sometimes to go into a callback, my advice, and again, I want to go back into auditioning again, but my advice is when you do a callback, um, not to have a set role in your mind, like to free yourself of expectations. Because when you want it too badly, it actually, in my opinion, interferes with your acting and your choices.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. But and yeah, so what do you think of you know, we'll go into it, but Eileen, because I feel that Eileen with her ex-husband, like all of their interactions, I love how Angelica Houston plays the producer
Oh, I
there.
love it when she goes to speak to Derek at this restaurant, which I need to figure out where this is. If it's a real restaurant because it looks gorgeous and it looks expensive. So, but I just love her vivacious air about her.
Mm,
It's something that screams diva, but there's also humility within her as well.
yeah, I agree
Um,
with you.
mhm.
Yeah.
But her
And
interactions with her ex-husband is just something that's he's basically just taking everything away from her, and she's just trying to piece together what little dignity that she has left. And
it's
with that
true.
comes the show.
Yeah. And do you feel like she's in over her head? Because Derek kind of warns Eileen that she is like putting the cart before the horse. He's like,
Hmm.
you want to throw it to Broadway right away, but like we still have all of these other issues to work through. And Eileen's like, no, no, all the songs are good as they are. Like, we just need to get this going. We need our Marilyn. And I feel like she does put a lot of pressure on.
She
Um,
does because she wants to get the a workshop done. She wants to get the heads of Broadway listening. She wants to have like this workshop with other important Broadway people to look at what they've created so far, but there's nothing that's created yet. So it's like she wants to make something out of thin air, and there's nothing there yet. So she just has to be patient, which the workshop will come very soon. So,
mm, mm. No, no, I agree. It, but I think we have to jump to it, which is what did you think of, um, like, were you surprised that Ivy has sex with Derek?
oh no, you know that they were eye fucking each other from the moment that they saw each other. It wasn't, it, I was not surprised by it at all. And yeah, what did you think about it?
I mean, I am surprised because Derek seems like he's uninterested with Ivy.
Hmm.
Um, and this is where I really feel that Ivy is in such a precarious position because this is such a power differential here with the director and then her as an actor that like it really seems as if she's doing it to secure the role of Marilyn. Like it doesn't seem like she's romantically invested, but he also
I
doesn't seem
felt,
romantically invested. It seems almost
no,
like
he's
just a
acting like it's a
convenience.
hookup.
Like,
Hmm.
yeah, it just seems like convenient sex. But
It's
I
like I
really,
want the girl that you're thinking of me for, and I'm gonna prove it to you that I can do it.
yeah. Well,
It's
but
like,
remember when they're in bed together and he's like, "Oh, you've been auditioning for me in bed as Marilyn." Like
hmm,
almost as if he's seeing her, even though he says he's joking, it's as if he sees her as the sex kitten Marilyn that was playing up her appearance for the male gaze in
yep.
throughout her films. Um, that he's already cast Ivy in that bombshell, glamorous sex kitten, horny role for men, like for
Hmm.
men's consumption. And this is where I just feel so scared for Ivy because um even though she did consent to this,
Yep.
I'm worried for her because it already seems like he's manipulating the situation as the director,
Hmm.
that she's going to be left in the dust, not him.
Yeah, I can see that because what Ivy does is that she uses this as a power tool for her, but it's also something that maybe she would want to hold against Derek as well if the
Yeah.
time ever comes to it whenever, something bad happens and she needs to have like a say that she needs an understudy. Who is Derek going to go to? Oh, let's go with Karen. And then if Karen wins over the crowd of people, then Ivy's left in the dust. And that's
Hmm.
basically what her biggest fear is, which is what you guys
Yes.
think.
Yeah. So no, I'm concerned for Ivy.
Yep.
But I also really question Derek here because I mean, he's such a charmer in a way, but he's also Tom thinks he's arrogant. Like Derek comes off as both um really confident, but
Mhm.
also unsure of himself. Like, I think he's somewhere in the middle. He's in this gray area. And I think we're supposed to see him as dashing, but dangerous.
He's like the bad boy. But do you think that this ploy is overused where the ingenue was sleeping with the director so they could secure them apart? Do you think that's overused either in film or TV? I wanted to get your thoughts on that because
Yeah.
it seems a little uh overused in at this point.
I mean, I think it's definitely realistic. Like, we've seen all of the casting couch um stories from Hollywood. I mean, Marilyn warned of, the wolves, the like praying men who
Hmm.
wanted sexual favors in return for her to get roles. Like,
Yeah.
this is not new at all, but it's also right. I do think that there is an ethical boundary. Like, there's a difference, in my opinion, between a Harvey Weinstein and like sexually abusing
Oh,
women
yep.
and like women or even men too, right? They do it as well. But like,
Hmm.
especially queer men in casting. But like if you agree, if you seduce the director, but also the director is willing to sleep with you,
Hmm.
like it's almost as if you're bartering with them, which is also using sex as a tool to get ahead, which I also don't think is ethical. But I think we all look at like sex is, I always want to see it in a romantic way, but sex is used as power in
Yeah.
certain, industries and isn't fair all the time. And someone might be getting more out of that experience than the other. Like I think Ivy, I have to say, I feel like Ivy understands that for her to have sex with Derek, she is securing the role of Marilyn, but I also think she is starting to fall a little for him, and that's where I'm worried for her because I don't think Derek is that invested.
No, he's just taking this as if it's just another, to quote from Golden Girls, another notch in his bedpost. So,
Yeah, but like,
oh, sorry, that was Sex in the City. Whoops, never mind.
oh, is it? Well, but I do think that it's interesting because um, the one who actually, is it well, no, it's Derek, Eileen, Tom, and Julia. Like they have this very long meeting that Ellis keeps spying on to figure
Oh,
out
yeah.
who's going to be Marilyn.
Mhm.
I don't think Derek, though, is the one who's really pushing for Ivy, even though he's been having sex with her.
No, I think what I saw is that he was also pushing for Karen as well because he wanted someone fresh, someone who doesn't look like Marilyn, but
Hmm.
possesses her traits, her inner
Yeah.
traits. And I think that's what's more important, where you find someone who isn't an exact physical copy of Marilyn, but you have someone who's also been through the struggles that Marilyn has gone through, or is seen to be from those homegrown, down to earth type of people who rarely get the opportunity to just get that lead role. And I think that's
Have you ever wondered, wait, how does Andrew know about all of the new LGBTQ literature, TV, and film in society? Well, I have a secret tool and it's called the Gay and Lesbian Review. It is my favorite magazine. It is bi-monthly, which means it comes out every 2 months. So right now, the March and April issue just came out. It's an encore issue. It's called When Did the LGBT Movement Begin? There's such exciting articles about what made Stonewall different, a sacred order for sexual outsiders, the house that Hirschfeld built, and so much more in that issue. I actually just had on authors William Benjamin, Margaret Vandenberg, and Lawrence Senelik, who had written to me, and I discuss his responses as a special gay and lesbian review and ITBR podcast episode. So you can look for that in our podcast catalog. It is all about the January and February issue called Strange Fruit. So I can't wait for you all to listen to that. I absolutely love all of the queer history, culture, politics that the Gay and Lesbian Review covers. I love getting my print magazine. It just is so nostalgic having a magazine arrive at my door. But they also have an extensive online edition, so you can get the magazine online. I know so many in my life who've told me that they are now reading the Gay and Lesbian Review for LGBTQ literature recommendations. I love that. So you can use an exclusive code. Stephen from the Gay and Lesbian Review and Richard gave me an exclusive code to share with you all. It is called ITBR Choice. So ITBR Choice. Go to subscribe on the glreview.org, put in that code ITBR Choice, and you will get a free issue with your subscription. So all you'll have to do is where it says what magazine do you want for free, just put March and April or January and February. And I can't wait for you all to get your hands on the Gay and Lesbian Review. Make sure you follow them on Instagram. And please let me know if you're reading the Gay and Lesbian Review because I'd love to shout you out on the podcast.
What devastates Karen the most is that she put herself out there and she did all these callbacks and dance routines, and it bit her in the ass.
Yeah. But I also think that it does make sense from Tom's point of view. Like, am I really going to take a chance on someone who's never been on Broadway?
True.
Like, to put them in this lead role.
It might be overwhelming for them.
Well, not even overwhelming for them, but it might be a death wish for the musical, like as a success. So I think it's a whole business decision. I mean, at the end of the day, we like to think that people are invested in raw talent, but they're looking at their bottom line and money and finances.
Yep.
And like that's where Eileen's coming from. But Eileen, I don't know, that's what's interesting is she does care so much about the financial success, which she has to as the producer, but she really does believe Derek's judgment. So she's like, well, Derek, if you think Karen's the right one to go with, I, am in full support of your decision here because you have such good judgment. So
and Tom just wants Ivy because he's basically her best friend.
Well, and basically promised her, which you should never get
like
anyone's
you go into a
hopes
hospital and the doctor promises the wife that her husband's going to be okay. When nope, he's dead on the table.
Wow, well, that took a more of a turn, Christian. Thanks for
Sorry,
that.
I've been watching a lot of New Amsterdam and Grey's Anatomy, so forgive me if I went a little morbid.
Yeah, I feel like TikTok keeps recommending Grey's Anatomy videos to me, especially that one with Christina Ricci when she has like her hand in the body and is like holding the bomb.
The bomb
Yeah.
episode. Oh boy.
Okay, well, we'll have to do a whole Grey's Anatomy discussion, but oh, I love though how Eileen reacts when Derek says, "Oh, your husband, ex-husband, Jerry reached out for me to come back to the My Fair Lady revival." And I told him to
just shove it.
Shove it. And she was like, "You did?" I do love their relationship together, Derek and Eileen.
But you know what's funny is that I thought that he was going to tell her that he had sex with Ivy. That's what I thought that
yeah,
was.
Well, I think they're setting us up.
Like, I wanted to like get this to you before you heard from anybody else, and I'm like, oh, then I remember.
Well, it's a red herring. They're trying to set that us up in our mind. But were you surprised that Ivy, like that already we have a decision, supposedly, right? A supposed decision that Ivy's chosen as Marilyn.
Rewatching it again, it kind of felt a little cheesy on my part because when when Tom goes over to her backstage after she does her show Heaven on Earth, it feels like Tom, in my opinion, I thought that he was lying to her because it felt like it was a very like, you got the part, you did it. I'm like, are you lying to her just so she can feel happy about herself? I'm like, is this because that's what it felt like to me, that he was just trying to butter her up and not, just make her feel happy in the moment. And but
Well, and not until you sign a contract is that actually
oh yeah.
secure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they can pull this part from Ivy any second if they
Uh-huh.
want to.
Yep.
So, yeah. Oh, but did you notice when Julia was reading the adoption letter that the song Secondhand White Baby Grand was playing in the background?
I did notice that.
Like, so that's a question I have like for Mark Shaman. I'll have to clip this out and like post it on our stories since Mark Shaman, we follow him on social media.
We
I'm
do.
curious if him and Scott Whitman, they must have known all the Bombshell music numbers at the beginning of the series. Because like we get songs that aren't yet in the episodes, like as
Mm-hmm.
instrumentals.
It's like they were planning ahead
Hmm.
without knowing where to put these songs or how they were going to come out. So I think they kind of did like a very like, it's kind of like when you're preparing for when you're filming a movie where they if it's a musical, then they record the songs first and then they film. It's like they
Mm,
do it in reverse.
that's
um
true.
so I think that's kind of what they were doing, where they made up all the songs. They know the direction that they were going to go in, but they weren't exactly sure how to map it out yet.
Mm. Yeah, well, um, like Secondhand White Baby Grand is all
Mm-hmm.
about the baby Grand's piano, right?
Yep.
That Marilyn um it's connected to her mother, right? I'm trying to remember.
I think so. I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to quote
I'll look
anything.
it up. But what's so interesting is there's a whole history, like as we're seeing how um like this is going to be very inside baseball meta, which is as Tom and Julia, the fictional characters, are creating musical numbers for Bombshell. Scott Whitman and Mark Shaman are creating the musical numbers for the TV show. So it's like you have to think, how did the creative team of Smash decide when they were going to release which Bombshell musical number, right? Because in this one we have 20th Century Fox Mambo.
Yes.
So like why did you think that was the number chosen for the callback?
Oh, well, also because they staged it, they rehearsed it, they choreographed it without anyone's knowing. I guess they just wanted to feel for how it would look on stage, and I loved the direction that they took while performing it. It's like you get a little bit of what they want the show to look like in their mind. It's like the same thing that we talked about in the pilot, where we get a little bird's eye view of how they want the show to look like through the production designer's eyes and through the director's eyes and through everyone else's eyes that's actually viewing these musical numbers being performed. And then we have Catherine McPhee in a very very uh, tiny little wig that but I just love the direction that it took with it. And I think it was a good choice for them to actually that is one of my favorite musical scores, musical numbers from the show. Because it's also it deals with a lot of what Marilyn had to go through.
Hmm.
They did it
No,
in
I
like a
I agree. I love
musical.
that number. Well, and I love how it goes through like all the different studios that she works
Mhm.
with in the early days. Um, and
Yes.
like how each had their own genre
Mhm.
um film musicals. Like
Yeah.
20th Century has like more the Mambo, then I'm trying to remember
MGM had the Great Waltz,
the Waltz. Yeah, yeah.
and Warner Brothers had something else. I can't remember what it was. Um,
Well, at Paramount they go ooh la la.
yep.
The Warner Brothers Cha
There's
Cha
Cha Cha
Cha.
Cha. Yep.
Yeah, MGM they had the Great Waltz.
Uh-huh.
LB Mayer loved his schmaltz.
So then we have Great
Such a
Waltz.
good
Yeah.
line.
See? There we
Very
go.
good job, Scott Whitman and Mark Shaman. Um, but well, and at the 20th Century Fox, I thought it's a tango.
Did a
Oh
wango?
no, no,
No.
no. The 20th century, sorry. The 20th century foxtrot. It's a
Yep.
foxtrot.
It's a foxtrot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like the whole song is categorized
As a mambo.
as a mambo. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Which I think isn't a mambo just a mixture of music?
It
Like what
is.
is a mambo? I'm thinking of Mambo number 5. Do you remember that song?
Yes. Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Oh yeah, mambo is a genre of Cuban dance music.
Yep.
But it could have like a cha-cha-cha, a salsa. So it's like different types of dancing.
Mhm.
Um, oh, I found the background about the baby Graham.
You
So
did.
in Marilyn Monroe's posthumous autobiography called My Story, she says this. One day, a grand piano arrived at my home. It was out of condition. My mother had bought it secondhand. It was for me. I was going to be given piano lessons on it. It was a very important piano, despite being a little banged up. It had belonged to the movie star Frederic March. March, you'll play the piano over here by the windows, my mother said, and here on each side of the fireplace there will be a love seat, and we can sit listening to you. As soon as I pay off a few other things, I'll get the love seats, and we'll all sit in them at night and listen to you play the piano. I never forgot the white painted house and its furniture. Years later, when I was beginning to earn some money from modeling, I started looking for the Frederick March piano. After about a year, I found it at an old auction room and bought it. Um, because when her mom was taken to the Norwalk mental hospital, Marilyn sent to an orphanage, so all their belongings are taken, including the piano. So
Yep.
Marilyn then buys the piano back from an auction, and then guess what? In 1999, Mariah Carey purchases the piano from an auction.
Of course she does.
Yeah. But that's because they weren't going, no one was going to buy the piano for like a Marilyn Monroe museum. So Mariah said that she's going to make sure it stays in pristine condition for a
Mm.
future Marilyn Monroe museum. I'm kind of curious, like, why they haven't created a Marilyn Monroe museum. They
They
need to.
should. They really
Yeah.
should.
Yeah. I don't think one exists. So there's a pet project. But yeah, so there's that backstory. But I love that Julie is reading the adoption letter and you're hearing that song because it's all about Marilyn trying to find um like that baby Grand is a stand-in for finding family, like her not having that motherly relationship she really needed. Um, that she has to find alternative relationships. And, you know, Julia is going through an adoption process and like trying to have an alternative, family and find belonging. So it all kind of ties together. But
Mhm.
yeah, so I don't know. What else from the episode, Christian, did you feel like we need to cover?
Hmm. I think we covered it all. Um,
Yeah, I'm trying to look at my notes, like if there's anything we didn't talk about. Mm.
I think we talked about, unless you find something that we
Well,
forgot.
just that Derek keeps saying that Ivy is trying too hard, and he says Marilyn never tried too hard. Um,
Mm.
well, how about like that ending that you brought us, you know, we started the podcast episode with, which is that Ivy is singing a celebratory Carrie Underwood song. Like, do you feel that
Which,
already we should be um
for failure?
set
No.
up for well yeah failure but also that the goalpost is going to move, that we're already, our expectations are going to change. Like, oh, she got the part, but we know something's coming around the corner.
It kind of has that buildup where it seems too good to be true. And like, you have Ivy being so thankful for Tom for telling her that she got the part, and she's, oh my God, I'm so happy, I'm gonna cry. It's like, where there's something that always happens that knocks her back to reality. She's on this cloud nine feeling right now. And I think by the third episode that she gets knocked down a few pegs and she's brought back down to reality.
Yeah, unfortunately, she's
That's
really
what
going to
she
be
needs,
brought.
because this is getting way too cheesy for me.
Yeah, I feel like um we need a little more humdrum reality because
Yep.
um I can't handle all the optimism. No, no, no. But I
There's
am
so much
excited.
optimism.
What I do like about this show is like unlike Queer as Folk, or unlike, I feel like a lot of our TV shows right now, we can see a real arc in TV shows. Like you really know where each episode is going to lead you. Um, I really don't know where this is going. Like I remember a little about where it's heads, but I haven't like watched ahead. Like Christian knows I watch everything like the day before or like a few hours before just to keep it fresh. But I just love it. I'm like, what's gonna happen next? I literally don't know. They don't really
This one ends
um
on kind of this one ends on like a sort of hopeful cliffhanger where it's it's just it ends on a too hopeful note for me. And
yeah.
it's like, yes, it's a happy ending and everyone gets what they want. And it's, you save that for the finale. You don't put that in for the second episode?
Well, that's how we know that um we're being misguided because this would not be
I
the
think
second
so.
episode's ending.
No,
Like this is not where the series is ending.
no.
Um, we still have Catherine McPhee signed a contract. So
Yeah.
where's Karen? Uh, you know. But yeah, this was so fun. I can't wait for episode 3, Christian. And I think we're going to
Yeah.
be bringing on another guest.
Yes, I hope so. Goodness. Not that anyone is tired of listening to both of us talk about it, but it
No,
would be
I mean
nice
we
to get
could keep going and going and going, but
we
it's
could.
fun. It's fun to
We
bring like other people with, theater stories.
exactly. So they could
Yeah.
give us their 2 cents on what
Yeah.
it's like behind the scenes, behind the curtain,
Yeah.
if you
But
will.
the things that Ivy does with Derek definitely exists in theater. I mean,
Have you
I
ever
heard
experienced
stories.
that?
No,
Not you
I didn't.
personally,
I didn't
but have you
experience
have
it.
you ever like have you ever had friends in the theater industry that have been through Ivy's position
Oh
just to
yeah. I
go,
mean, I would say I didn't really know about directors having sexual relations with cast members, but I would hear a lot about cast members having sex with each
oh
other.
yeah, that's
Or
and you
like
have
how
a cast
there's
party,
always
that happens.
well, and there's always that stereotype that like the leading actors are going to fall in love with each other. And then a lot of times they do
So,
start dating. I know, which is like so annoying because you know that that's not going to last usually. And it's all about connecting to each other as characters. And like, I just
uh-huh,
think it's a heightened hormonal level of oxytocin and like the cuddling emotion they're experiencing. So they kind of just need some time away from each other.
uh-huh.
But
My goodness.
yeah, but in terms of like that kind of nothing that blatant. And again, like this is dramatized. So we're kind of seeing things heightened. Um, but yeah, so I can't wait for this again. And I think that for me to be back again, Christian, this is so
Yeah,
fun. I love like chatting about Smash with you.
right?
And also how can they like anyone listening out there, if they want to be a guest co-host, like to recap one of these episodes, how can they
Well,
reach out to you?
will they be more than happy to reach out to me via Instagram at bookaholic_2021, or at my podcast Instagram as well at that Okay Classic Cinema. And you can also message Andrew as well at Ivory Tower Boiler Room, or his personal Instagram as well, which is Dr. Andrew Rimby, or is it just Andrew Rimby?
It's Andrew David Rimby.
Okay, there we
Yeah,
go.
with my middle name.
Getting it
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah, yeah. No, you're good. So thank you all for listening. I can't wait for next time. And Christian, always a pleasure and a blast, and sharing all things Broadway nostalgia.
Yes, we're gonna get a lot more nostalgia in the next episode as well, I believe. So
Yeah,
get
and I have to
ready.
say, Christian Borle does make me so he does such a good job of making me annoyed with Tom. Tom is definitely the one. The thing is, I should be more annoyed with Derek and him pushing the boundaries with Ivy. But
I
I
love
find that
this episode.
Tom has like an arrogance also about him, but his arrogance kind of puts me off more than Derek. I don't know why.
Yep. Yep.
Like maybe because Tom, I know what he wants to do with Ellis, and it's just yeah, and I think Tom thinks he knows more than he does, and I never like that in a person.
He has that arrogant sense of, oh, I know better than all of you, so I'm just gonna do what I want and no one's gonna say no to me. He has that sort of like, yeah, he has that mentality that annoys me as well, that I felt his character annoyed me this episode a little bit, just a little bit. But
Yeah. But I really do like Julia's character. I find
oh,
like so
I love
far
Julia.
I'm most interested and invested in like Deborah Messing and
Yep.
Eileen. I have to say Julia, Eileen, Karen and Ivy, I'm kind of split. I'm not yet like on a side. I think because there's like things in Karen that kind of frustrate me. Um, like her naiveness. Like she is a little too green for me, but also Ivy's on the opposite spectrum. So I'm kind of waiting for them to like come together in the middle ground, which I think does happen eventually. They start to um absorb traits from each other.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, okay. So a little after show talk. Okay, well, thanks, Christian. And I'm,
Thank you,
hope,
Andrew.
yeah, I love that you're hosting this. And thanks for everyone out there. Okay, until next time.